Mam's Little Clown by Nollaig O'Donnell.
He's just, I don't know, he's just gorgeous, I thought. He's so cute, and I think he's got a real look of Mam in his eyes. What a thought. I don't think Mam would be too pleased to think that a little clown would remind me of her. Maybe not, but somehow there was, in his absolute eccentricity, a little gem that held something of her essence. I had fallen for him, and so would you if you saw him. Let me give you the chance. First of all, he was tiny, stocky but tiny, with big feet. Yes, very big feet. I think I must have noticed those big, long, red, shiny shoes almost immediately. Immediately, of course, after I had noticed his eyes. Those wonderful, soft, full of divilment eyes. The kind of eyes, well, perhaps those one-of-a-kind of eyes. His cheeks were chubby, made even chubbier by the broad, expansive, truly winning smile. His face had a gentleness about it. Its childlike features, beautifully button-nosed, were surrounded by a chaos of the most amazingly soft, dishevelled red hair. Atop this uncoiffed mass sat his cap, a multicoloured striped cap with a peak. I had the distinct impression that he would not be separated from his cap. It was like his smile, a permanent fixture. He wore an oversized bright red dicky bow pressed up against his chin, accentuating an almost non-existent neck, while at the same time contrasting wonderfully with his deep turquoise shirt. His pants were multicoloured, like his cap, and very, very baggy. They were elastic-waisted, though I know not why, because his big red-buttoned braces were more than adequate for the job. His huge, pale, wide-open, welcoming hands beaconed out at the end of outstretched arms. Arms that were short, though not out of proportion in a body that seemed to be entirely proportionate to the little man himself. I was smitten. My decision was made. There would be no two ways about it. He was coming home with me. Mam was sitting by the fire reading the paper that evening when I called. "Welcome home," said Mam. "You're looking well. Great tan." "Oh, thanks," I said. "We got lovely weather. And I have a little something for you." I reached into my shoulder bag for the very special souvenir I had brought for Mam, though in truth I had absolutely no idea how she would react to it. I just knew that I had to give it to her. "Oh, I told you not to be wasting your money on me," she said. She had always said that, and she had always meant it. Not for Mam the little souvenir of a trip to wherever. No, indeed, she didn't do dust collectors, thank you very much. I was taking a risk with this one. I knew that. "Here you are," I said, handing over a small, soft little package. "Hope you like it." I held my breath as Mam tore off the wrapping paper and unrolled the plastic bubble wrapping before eventually coming face to face with her little clown. I was still holding my breath when Mam smiled. It was the smile that I had longed to see, that sometimes smile that started at her lips, lingering there just a few seconds before taking that risk to rise upwards, coming to rest right inside her eyes. She liked him. The week that followed was not an easy one. It was one of those weeks that mark a change a turning point in the life of a family. A time when everything goes on about its business as usual, yet some one thing has happened that has within it the power to threaten the familiar order of lives. Auntie B, our favourite auntie, had been diagnosed with dementia. I suppose it had felt more like confirmation of a terrible suspicion than a diagnosis. And it rocked our world. There is nothing quite like the confirmation of fear to petrify and dispirit. Towards the end of that particular week, I dropped in on Mam. She was sitting by the fire reading the newspaper. Auntie B had just left, after a short visit. She had been in town shopping and called to Mam for a cuppa before going home. She skipped cards again last night, Mam said, as she let a log fall into the fire. She says she felt she had a cold coming on and decided to stay in, but I know she just forgot to go. I know that, I said. You do, and so does she. We fell silent. Do you know something, Mam said? You'll laugh at this. But last night, I wasn't in the best of form sitting here reading the paper. Then I heard the church bells chime 8 o'clock. I lifted my head from the paper and I looked over at the windowsill, at my little clown. A very strange thing happened. I started to laugh, for no reason in the world, but just the look of him, I suppose, his eyes and the silly cap. If anyone had looked in the window, they would have said, "Look at that old lady, on her own in there, half daft, laughing away at nothing." Well then, they would have been wrong, Mam, I said. What better could you have been doing? You were here, in your own world, happily laughing at your very own little clown. Do you want to go into town for a few hours, take a break? Richard asked. I'll stay with Mam until you come back. I'd love to, I said. But no, there will be other Christmas Eves for shopping. Anyway, more snow is promised for later, and that would make it very difficult to get back out here. Yes, you could be right about that, said Richard. Actually, I think I might move Mam's bed over to the window, I said. It's really warm in here with the sun bouncing off the sea and the snow. We moved Mam's bed, her little clown standing steadfastly on the bed frame at the foot of the bed, his big red shiny shoes submerged in blue tack to secure him. I propped her up on her pillows so she could look out the window over the clown and the sea and into the azure blue sunlit sky. It was positively Mediterranean. I wonder would we take a walk on the beach, asked Mam, after Richard had left for home. It's a really lovely day, and there's great heat in that sun. Okay, I said, but we'll have a cuppa first. I did not want to burst her bubble by telling her that it was 4 degrees out there. And I knew that by the time we would have had the cuppa, she would have forgotten all about that walk on the beach. Dementia does that. Just then, an attendant popped her head in the door. I didn't know her. Everything okay? She asked. I'm Sally. I'll be on over Christmas. Some carol singers have just arrived downstairs. Oh, you've moved to the bed. Hey, that's a good idea. She bounced across the room and stood beside Mam's bedside by the window. The view here is amazing, she said, smiling at Mam. "You've got the best room in the entire nursing home." But Mam's eyelids had dropped. The heat and sunlight and silent night had lulled her to sleep. Sally tiptoed out of the room to join the ambulant patients downstairs with the carol singers. I sat at Mam's bedside, still in the light and heat. Just then I remembered that I had my sketch pad in my handbag on the press beside me. I opened my bag, took out my pad and brush pen and started sketching to the strains of Jingle Bells and the seasonal smell of mince pies. 20 minutes later, he had almost materialized. Cap, wild hair, dicky bow, braces and baggy pants. All he needed now were his oversized shoes and one finishing touch. A magic stroke to make those soft eyes smile. Mission accomplished. Seconds later, Mam awoke. Hazy and slightly dazed by the sunlight, she lifted her eyes to meet mine. "Look," I said, holding my sketch up for inspection. "Who is this?" "Ah," she sighed, smiling, giving a gentle nod to the little man at the foot of her bed. "That's my little clown." Mam passed away peacefully 5 days later.